Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my YouTube channel F1 with Shikhar. This is going to be a crazy channel where I'm gonna cover everything about Formula 1, watch alongs, reactions, pre race, post race, pretty much everything, memes, videos, um, absolutely everything, man. So let's get stuck into it right here, right now. Let's react to P1 with Matt and Tommy. I'm pretty sure you guys must know these two, Matt and Tommy. Those who don't know them, essentially Matt and Tommy are two Formula One nerds, as they like to call themselves, who live in United Kingdom. Why would I say United States? I was about to say United States. Never mind. Who live in United Kingdom, and they have been following Formula One since ages. And they essentially created this YouTube channel and Twitch channel where they stream, react, do everything related to Formula One. So in a way, these two are my idols. Like, I look up to them. So I'm gonna emulate my channel based off them. Um, I know Matt and Tommy, they would love um, to see people around the world getting inspired by them. I hope so, at least. But anyway, let's get stuck into it. They have just released their new YouTube video, which is what happened during F1's 5-day Barcelona Shakedown. I was planning to do a video on this as well, because I've been following the shakedown in Barcelona. I mean, duh, like everyone is, right? Formula One was so secretive, like all the teams were so secretive. But anyway, they have uploaded the video, and let's get stuck into it.
What happened during F1's
5-day Barcelona Shakedown.
Matt is a Ferrari fan, for those who don't know. And Tommy's a Red
Shakedown
Bull
done and
Max
dusted?
Verstappen fan.
We've still got 2 weeks of testing remaining. This one was the most private of all, as we know. Look, we did a day one podcast, we did a day one shakedown of the P1 channel, to be honest with you. But then we thought, there really isn't that much to talk about over these next few
That's
days.
what I thought
But
as
we
well.
wanted to sort of highlight and speak about things that have come out over.
Exactly my thoughts. I was following all the days, and I was like, okay, I should do a video of pretty much every day, like 1 to 5. But then, as Matt just said, there wasn't much to cover, because everything was so secretive. I know you would still get the images, the videos from people standing outside on the circuit, on the hill, I should say, right outside the Barcelona circuit, and trying to get some videos, some pictures of the new cars. But yeah, essentially, Formula One and all the teams were really secretive about it. So you didn't get much content, as one would hope so, from the testing. But obviously, we have still got the Bahrain testing coming up in 12 days time. So yeah, I mean, obviously we'll be streaming that as well. So, but yeah, that is what my thought was. As Matt just echoed, that there wasn't much to cover, so thought I would just make one video of someone else reacting, me reacting to someone else reacting on Formula One Shakedown. Anyway, I'm yapping too much. Let's get into it.
For the last few days since we last did the podcast. Now, 10 of the 11 teams have run their cars. And as we said in the first day, but if you missed that, 3 of the 5 days they could pick and choose to decide to run their car. However, if they went out the pits, that was it. That is a day locked in. Doesn't matter if they do 1 lap or 100. And all teams managed to do 3 of the days, apart from Aston Martin, who managed 2, and Williams, who, of course, did not even turn up. But they're
Williams didn't even turn up to the shakedown. I'm not sure if all of you guys are aware, but they are overweight. They are severely overweight, if sources are to be believed anyway. But yeah, they are overweight and they failed. The reason why they are overweight is they failed FIA's crash test, which is a non-negotiable. Like if you fail the crash test before a season, like that's you're done. Like you can't do anything. You have to make your chassis, your monocoque as strong as possible to pass those tests. But yeah, that's the reason why Williams didn't show up, because they were overweight, and yeah, they decided not to run in Barcelona, and I think they'll show up straight away in Bahrain for the official testing on 11th of Feb.
Seems to be slightly more positive news coming out of that camp in the sense of passing crash tests and being ready for the next phase of testing.
Yeah. What if Daddy Vaz is actually cooked? He's hiding something. Yeah. They've got the magic bullet double diffuser Brawn GP, and they're just waiting for Bahrain, so no one can catch up in time, and they're like, boom, here you go.
That would be quite something. So,
Yep.
the fastest unofficial lap of the 5-day Barcelona Shakedown, Ferrari.
Lewis Hamilton.
Go get the flag.
We are winning it all. So,
Mats Delulu has already started.
Hamilton clocked an unofficial 1 minute 16.348, a whopping 1/10 faster than George Russell in the Mercedes from a few days ago. A few days ago? 1 day ago?
Yeah,
whatever. Russell's fastest lap was a 16.445, also, of course, unofficial. But I absolutely love the fact that Ferrari have bolted on a fresh set of softs at the end of the day in the fastest probable conditions and plonked in the fastest lap of all, just to get my hopes skyrocketing.
Yeah, it's not like Ferrari, is it, to Aura Farm? Not at all.
It's a private test, Tommy. We're not even supposed to know this.
So I will say right now that they are a lot better than I thought. I think it's very promising. I think it's very, very promising, actually. Surprising.
I agree.
If I was to predict again, I would not be putting them as my biggest flop, that's for sure. So
Would you not?
No, I think...
Tommy.
I know we...
Tommy did predict a couple of weeks ago that Ferrari will be the biggest flop of 2026 season. Obviously not to the liking of Matt.
We joke about testing, and I don't like to mention testing, but yeah, it's impressive what Ferrari have done. You know, they've Hamilton and Leclerc, two of the fastest 5 times of the whole session, like the whole shakedown.
The whole shakedown. I love how, like, don't take testing times, take it with a pinch of salt. If that, where does shakedowning times? Because this isn't even a test. We're in shakedowning, which should be even less. And
it's not a shakedown, is it?
I
Let's be
know
honest.
that. No, it's not at all. It's a test. What I will already, I can hear the comments coming in of, why are you getting so excited? It's only testing. What I want to say to this, right, is that people that say, look, you can't.
Dude, obviously you're gonna get excited. Like if your team is, no matter if it's a shakedown, if it's testing, if they're top of the ladder, if they're top of the timetable, you're gonna get excited. I would have been if Max and Red Bull had topped the timings. I mean, I'm fairly certain that Red Bull is still going to be quick. They're going to be okay. Lauren McKees has done a pretty good job since he's coming. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, seeing your driver, seeing your team on the top of the timetable is, it's just timesheet or whatever. It's just obviously very exciting.
Learn anything from testing. You shouldn't be getting excited, this, that, and the other. First and foremost, we're Formula One content creators that really enjoy the sport.
Yeah.
And we will take any tiny smidge of information that we can. And as a Ferrari fan, I will run with it that we're winning it all. If that's the way I want to absorb this unofficial soy motor lap times that I've received, then I will do that. You don't have to get excited, but I will.
And also, look, it's not going to be the final classification order of the world title. That's not what you're saying. But the fact that
hopefully
they're
not,
quick.
Hamilton would win and Leclerc be fourth in the championship. So
But look, it's incredibly. It's not. People get confused between don't take too much into lap times and it's not a bad thing being fastest in a session. Like, how can it be a bad thing? They've also done a lot of laps. Ferrari have clocked over 400 laps.
That's actually a really good amount of laps. I think Mercedes was the top team that did the most number of laps, more than 500, I think. That's absolutely insane. Like, that certainly tells that their engine and their car is their engine is specifically, like, we can't say much about the car yet, but their engine is pretty reliable. I think it's the best out there, and that's the main reason why the odds are for George Russell to be the world champion this year. Obviously we'll find out if that's going to happen, but yeah, I mean, Mercedes looks absolutely top of the class right now from what has come out of Shakedown. And obviously Ferrari has clocked in more than 400 laps, as Matt and Tommy just said. So yeah, it's a really good. The mileage is insane. Yeah.
Over the kind of 3 days that they've done as well. One of those was in the wet, of course, as well. But yeah, they've done a good job. Like, you can't deny that. We'll know a lot more after official testing, and of course there's going to be two of them.
I should add here that I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but apparently Lewis Hamilton cut the final chicane to get the fastest lap. I think like the source of that is someone tweeted that Lewis Hamilton cut the corner on the final lap, and I think Mercedes's official Twitter account replied to that indeed he did. He did cut the final chicane. So, like, who knows?
3 day tests, and we'll know a lot more then. We'll maybe, the media will be covering it, so we'll know more about run plans and things like that. But you can't just shut it down as like, no, this means nothing, because we know it does in the past. Like, it definitely does mean something.
Yeah, and I think that is a crucial thing to say here, is that, yeah, as you say, it doesn't determine the order. But if Ferrari are tootling around in 1 minute 22s, you can read something from that. You can read that they're struggling a little bit, because you wouldn't actively go that much slower than what the fastest time is of that day or of that week. And also the mileage. We've said this many times when we've reviewed testing before, but yeah, it's all about the mileage. And Ferrari have been phenomenally reliable and consistent. Charles Leclerc's smiling in interviews. That in itself is worth everything to me, as you know. But I think, we look at, again, these numbers are unofficial. They come from Soy Motor. And I believe this was halfway through the last day. This is the last up-to-date information that I've got. So for the overall powertrain, so not just the team, but whatever teams are running those particular engines. So for Mercedes, it was 963 laps that they had run across shakedown testing. Ferrari, 815. Red Bull powertrains, 575. Audi, 161. And Honda, 54. Now, of course...
Now, remember,
that's actually a bit concerning.
Engines and
that's
obviously Mercedes. An engine. You got to remember that's obviously it looks good for Mercedes and Ferrari.
That's essentially that, because multiple teams have Mercedes engine. McLaren, Alpine is getting their engine from Mercedes, so that's why it's showing the accumulated value of number of laps.
Got multiple teams, so. Yep. You don't want to be like, you don't want to look at Audi and go, oh, that's really bad. Like, obviously they'd love to have done more, but
I would argue in some ways, of course, it's inflated for the Mercedes and the Ferraris of this world, but also that's crucial information, full stop, for developing that powertrain. Like, as much as Honda have had the lowest amount, they don't have as much data just in general to try and improve on what they've got.
Yeah, and Ferrari, you look at obviously like 815, they've got they supply engines for Cadillac and Haas did an awful amount of running right at the start of the session. They looked amazing with their reliability. But yeah, they've done like 400 laps. Mercedes, of those 963 laps, 500 of them just their own team. So obviously, like someone like Audi, who we'll speak about later, yes, it's only one car, and same with Honda, but it's 54, 161. It's a lot less than the likes of Mercedes and Ferrari that are doing like over 400 laps of their own team, and can be very and are also obviously topping the timesheets as well. So very impressive from those two.
Let's get into some questions, shall we?
It is very impressive by Ferrari and Mercedes, to be fair. Like the number of laps and topping the time sheets, as Tommy just said. I mean, can't wait for the testing in Bahrain and obviously draw conclusions from that as well, which can be a bit deceiving because teams can sandbag, run different programs, different kind of tests as well. So essentially, you wouldn't know until Q3 of the first race here in Melbourne. But yeah.
We've been waffling on because we're excited about the season that is still a month and a half away. Cubomois, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. Why does everyone get all excited about lap times in testing when we all know it's just about laps and each team's programme and if they were able to complete it? Let me go back to what I just said. We get excited because we love the sport.
Yeah.
Yes, we might well get ahead of ourselves. Yes, I might believe Ferrari are winning it all. But that's my prerogative. That's what I'm allowed to do. You can go as far or as near as you want with this information that has been leaked rather than displayed by Formula One. But what I would say is, look, be your own Formula One fan. Don't watch it at all. Watch all of it. It doesn't matter. This won't matter, of course, when we get to Australia. But we want to have just small little jigsaw pieces to try and put together who is going to be fast in 2026.
Exactly. You can choose to ignore this information if you want to go in completely blind into the season and it'd be a complete surprise.
No spoilers, Tommy.
Or the people that watch Drive Survive and then they don't watch the whole season.
Yeah.
That being said,
Just on that, I actually can't fathom that some people just watch Drive to Survive and not the season, like the whole Formula One season. It's actually insane. Like, I don't know, I think it was Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso who recently, I mean not recently, but like a while back, who said that don't watch Drive to Survive because it's obviously exaggerated to get views and obviously new fans in all the dramas and the shenanigans that Netflix does with Drive to Survive. But yeah, it's actually insane that people watch Drive to Survive and not watch actual Formula One, like the actual races. Doesn't make sense to me.
We do know a good amount from what we see, and I think there is a little bit of I think it's maybe overplayed, and it feels like something you can be like, don't look too much into times and things. Like, yes, that is true to some extent, but Mercedes were fastest in 2014 by like a second, and they obviously were very, very quick that year.
Yeah.
And you look back at kind of years gone by, there's so much information now available, and particularly when we get to Bahrain, obviously we'll know a lot more. I fully believe that after Bahrain, we will, and when we've got everything there and we've seen a lot more and there's the information, the media are there and everything, we'll know even more about what the kind of pecking order is. Because you can say like, oh, it's only testing, but realistically, after testing last year, we were like, oh, McLaren are really, really good, aren't they? They won the championship really comfortably. The year before, Red Bull and Marsclare, they won the championship comfortably.
Yeah.
Years gone by that it's kind of happened.
Tommy, McLaren won the constructors. So you're saying Red Bull won in 2024? Let's put some respect.
Well,
I mean, we all know McLaren won in 2024 as well. But I get the point what Tommy is trying to make here.
As in they were
I know.
dominant. They got 1-2s for fun at the start. Okay. But basically, you do get a good idea. So to say that it's all irrelevant is not true.
Absolutely. Question from RNB Sheep. Do Mercedes look like the clear favourite, and can we expect another 2014 season?
It's too.
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, everything that has come out so far points to that Mercedes engine is clear. They've found this compression ratio trick, which essentially will give them more power in the straights. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. Can we expect another 2014 season? I mean, that season was insanely boring, where Mercedes was like essentially what would happen, those who didn't watch 2014, was imagine there was a safety car in a race, and the race restarted after the safety car period. The Mercedes drivers were 6-7 seconds ahead in 2 laps. That's how clear they were of the rest of the field. That's how dominant their engine was. And if sources are to be believed, that wasn't the whole, they weren't going full tilt with that engine. They were only using 50-60% of the whole power of that engine. So imagine if they used the full potential, if they went full tilt on that. Yeah, I mean, can we expect another 2014 season? I'm not too sure, because I feel like the budget cap has sort of, it has worked. $140 million budget set for every team means Mercedes can't just go and blow money on some problem, or blow so much money that they're just so far ahead of the whole field. Having said that, I mean, Red Bull, especially Max, was doing that in 2022. So it's tough to say, but I personally don't think so that it will be a 2014 season. Let's find out what Matt and Tommy have to say.
Two parts to this question. I'll start with the good news. I would say that I don't think another 2014 season is happening, hopefully. Fingers crossed. All pray, manifest it, because we don't want one team being miles ahead.
No.
I think the key thing here is that Mercedes can't do what they did in 2014 and have the best engine by a mile and make sure none of their other teams have a prayer, because they're not allowed to do that as much as they can in this new regulation. McLaren, Lando did the third best time of the test. They've obviously got pace. McLaren, we know, have beaten Mercedes before. They did it last year with their power unit, so it can happen. It's not a case of just because the Mercedes, if it is the best power unit, they're going to win. It's not going to be that same as 2014. Whether they're clear favourites, there's a reason they're the favourites. They were favourites before any running, and I think what they've done so far is incredibly impressive, quite ominous actually. They were first to roll out the pits. They did the most laps. Yeah. They were incredibly quick. They even mentioned, while other teams were obviously talking about how, they've got teething issues and things, Mercedes actually said that they completed their program a day early, which is quite a flex.
Yeah.
So they're talking themselves up quite a lot, and I think they can be. It's quite clear to me that I would be surprised if Mercedes weren't the favourites and fastest going into the season, but I don't think they're going to have an obscene advantage, and I'm actually very reassured by looking at the kind of lap times that we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Lap times mean nothing, Tommy, apart from when Ferrari go fastest. I mean, it's more heavily regulated, isn't it? The advantage that Mercedes can have with their engine when they also give their engine to their customers. I believe.
I mean, we only need to go back as far as the last 3-4 seasons. Whenever a team started getting way too ahead, for example, Red Bull got way too ahead in 2022, 2023 actually, sorry. Yeah, and FIA brought certain technical directives to not nerf them, but like sort of close down on the loopholes that Red Bull potentially found in those regulations. I mean, we obviously know about the rear engine braking for Red Bull, that was happening essentially, and FIA brought a technical directive to shut that down, and also um, it was 2024 season when McLaren had that. I think it was Baku, the race in Baku where Oscar Piastri's McLaren's rear wing was opening ever so slightly on the straights, because what was happening is they were passing the load tests that FIA had until then. Like the rear wing was passing the load test, but any load above that made that um, wing open ever so slightly on the straights, which gave Oscar Piastri, or McLaren, I should say, like a boost of about 7 to 8 kilometers on the straights. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously, as Matt and Tommy are saying, it's more heavily regulated now. So if Mercedes do have some, let's say, loopholes that they found, or maybe their engine is way too good, I think FIA will definitely clamp down, because they don't, essentially FIA don't want another 2014 season or like another 2023 season where one team was just winning absolutely everything. So yeah,
Believe that it can't be as big as 2014. Surely, clip it up, get it ready for Australia when they're on pole by a second. I just cannot see it. I think that McLaren, we haven't been speaking about them that much, but they've had a very quiet but solid test. I just mentioned they did 166 laps today. They're kind of weirdly going under the radar with everybody talking about them, not talking about them when they have the Mercedes engine. And as you said, they literally won last year. So for me, I don't know if this is hopium, that I feel it'll be closer than what some people might anticipate with this 2014 chatter.
yeah,
And if we do, we are having to change sport, because I can't be doing 5 years of like
Mercedes winning every race.
Safety car restart, 3 laps in, they're 7 seconds clear. I can't do that again. I really can't. But I'm hopeful that it'll be a lot closer. All right, next question. P1 Patreon member Sector 3. Did Aston Martin screw up leaving a Mercedes engine for a Honda one, especially with Mercedes track record? On paper, it feels like maybe. I don't know if Aston Martin have thought, right, we can't beat.
I mean, I mean, you could say so because of the stuff that has come out so far, the news, the speculation, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, Honda have been in Formula One for a few years now, and obviously they were supplying their engines to Red Bull, who have pretty much dominated, I would say, the ground effect era, especially Max. But would Aston Martin regret leaving Mercedes engine? I mean, we'll find out, I guess. But at this point, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, Honda knows what they're doing. They've been, yeah. I don't think so at this point of time.
Mercedes in their own backyard, we're going to have to go with an engine that nobody else has, and pray to God that Honda cook up an absolute banger. The other side of me thinking this is that the only reason that Adrian Newey wouldn't be able to cook is if he doesn't have an engine in the back of that Aston Martin that's the best, or like at least really competitive. So I guess on paper, an Aston Martin Mercedes, and we might well be talking very different in terms of our expectations. We saw the Aston Martin roll out the garage and the I know very little about aerodynamics and the way in which the car is structured, but it was very unique. It's very, especially at the back with the suspension and the way it's put together. It's an Adrian Newey design, and
it is. Those who haven't seen it yet, go online, suss it out. Adrian Newey has cooked. I fully believe in the genius. He definitely, at least in aerodynamics terms, he has cooked. Like the suspension, the engine cover, the hole in the diffuser. I think there are only 4 teams that have come up with this, 4 or 5 teams out of the 11. Yeah, it's an extremely radical design, and yeah, I if Aston Martin doesn't do well, I fully believe it's gonna be the Honda's engine. If I know I'm sort of contradicting myself, but as Matt just said, that you can't, like, Adrian Newey is going to aerodynamically make your car as fast as possible. And I think there are rumors already that straight line speed of the Aston Martin is the highest. There are rumors. There's no confirmation yet, obviously, but he has made that Aston Martin, the AMR 26, to be as less prone to drag as possible.
It could well be something that's incredibly fast, but if they don't have a Honda engine to match the design, then they won't be able to compete.
Yeah, I was very... I had GP2 engine flashbacks when I saw it roll out the pit lane. All the aura about the Aston Martin and how kind of good it's going to be.
I made a short about this a couple of days ago. GP2 engine, when Alonso said that, I think it was Melbourne, like a decade or so ago, more than a decade ago. But yeah.
And then them stopped 5 laps in, and the car broken down. But there's 2 sides to this, isn't there? That I agree that Adrian Newey, you'd kind of, do you bank on the fact that you can beat Mercedes with their engine but do better aerodynamics with Adrian Newey on board?
Yeah.
Or is it a case of, like, we need to be significantly better and we have our own power unit that no one else has on the grid, and it's the perfect blend and harmony? Because, of course, Adrian Newey and Honda have already had that working relationship with Red Bull. So he's already got that experience working with Honda to build his car around it. So
that car, holy shit. Like, I think the front nose is attached to the second flap. I think that's the only team I've seen so far do that, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, look at the back. It's absolutely insane. Like, the amount of genius has gone in just that portion of the car. Hats off, Adrian Newey.
So maybe that was more the thinking behind it as well. But of course, it is a risk to go down that route. We all know Fernando Alonso doesn't have time on his side. So even if...
What? He's just a rookie. Come on, Tom. He's just a rookie. He'll be fine for another 10 years.
The Honda does get better and makes Lance Stroll champion of the world in 2033 or whatever. Alonso doesn't have that.
Can I just say, if Lance Stroll becomes champion in these next 5 years with this Adrian Newey conceptual Aston Martin for the next 5 years or whatever, I'm just gonna lose it. Like, obviously I'm gonna be super, super happy, and it will, I mean, not that Adrian Newey is not the GOAT of designing cars, but I think that title will solidify 100 times. Like, if you can make Lance Stroll win the Drivers' Championship, Adrian Newey, like, Like, hats off.
Time, he can't wait for another Honda to do what they did with McLaren and Red Bull in the last hybrid power, where it takes 7 years for them to deliver a championship-winning engine.
You never know. Like, his 52nd birthday? That could be. That could be the
Happy
one.
birthday, Fernando! You got to 51 and you finally got a Honda engine that's good.
Yes, I hope for his sake that doesn't happen and he can compete a little bit sooner than that. Question from Varun Goes Beyond. What are your thoughts for the Aston Martin rumours and developments? Is there a big surprise hidden?
I love how much aura Adrian Newey has that car rolls out the pits. And
Everyone
I've seen
is
people
wow.
describing it as like the greatest work of art ever. And
Yes,
oh my
I've
God,
seen
it's like
exact-
It is, to be fair.
the Sistine Chapel and stuff.
It's like a watch. It's like a beautiful craftsmanship.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, if that same design was on the V carb, no one would even bat an eyelid.
No, they'd be like, what on earth is this direction they've gone with?
Yeah, they'd be like, oh, that's interesting, because it's new. It's like, wow. It's amazing how, yes, they've gone for
That's kind of true.
a very aggressive
The way I'm fangirling over Adrian Newey.
car. It's super secretive. There's so much expectation, and it only added to the aura that they were kind of like, everyone was waiting for that car to come out on track and they hadn't made it on time, and they'd got out the garage just at the end and it finally hit the track. Yes, it is very extreme. Like, weirdly, the kind of rear suspension is attached to the rear wing, which is very bizarre. There's also, again, it's all hearsay and rumours, but the potential front DRS flaps, that they believe that one team, that there's rumours that one team might have found like a loophole where they can manage it electronically rather than hydraulics, and it will save loads of weight and stuff. Is it Aston Martin? Who knows? But whatever the case, there's a lot of hype around that car, and the amount that they have gone in on Adrian Newey, the hype. You cannot do a black and white hype post saying the first Adrian Newey car rolls out the pits. You can't finish 7th in the constructors after that.
No.
I'm sorry, it has to be good.
Yeah,
it has to be good.
Agree.
I mean, I'm not going to complain about aura farming because
If Aston Martin have to be in, at least top 5 for me. Having Adrian Newey, bringing him on board from Red Bull, he's been working on just this car for the last year or more than a year, whatever, whenever he joined Aston Martin. His sole focus has been this year's car. He didn't contribute at all, let's say, last year. An Adrian Newey car doesn't finish 7th in constructors, as Tommy just said.
So I've experienced it a lot with my beloved red team, but there's a lot of excitement for Aston Martin. I hope I want to see Fernando Alonso fighting at the front.
Please.
Of course, my prediction was the complete opposite, and I thought it was going to be a bit of a flop, the car itself, and Alonso wouldn't be able to get the most out of it. And look, I am going to come back to my previous point about if Ferrari were tooling around in the 1 minute 22s or 20s or whatever, I wouldn't be too excited. Well, Alonso today did a 1 minute 20.7, which is 4.5 seconds slower than what Hamilton did. But again, testing time's been nothing. But I'm telling you, just in case you care, because it's not like they've been writing any kind of headlines since they have come out on the track. Question: Mangoes.mermaids. How promising are the Red Bull powertrains looking? I would say they could be pretty happy. Of course, the Hadjar small off was something that they would.
Matt said small off because Isaac Hadjar crashed, absolutely demolished the car, at least the rear of the car. I think it was the second day of the shakedown, second or third day, I'm not sure. But yeah, the Red Bull Ford engine does look good because obviously they did more than 500 laps. The mileage is decent, not even decent, it's actually good. Doing 400 laps, more than 400 laps. I think Ferrari did more than 500 laps. Anyway, but yeah, it looks promising, it looks good. I think Max said after the shakedown yesterday that he's pretty happy with the programs that the team ran, and yeah, they found a few niggles. Obviously, most of the teams did, as you would expect in a new year of regulations. But he said that like everyone's sort of working on them, worked on them, ironed them out. So yeah, I believe Max is going to be in the mix for the championship. I'm not sure if Red Bull will be able to deliver a second car for Isaac. Who knows? New year, new regulations. You never know. But I personally believe Max will be in the mix with George, perhaps Charles, Lewis, and the McLaren boys.
Rather have not had. It was a big. I think they had to wait for parts and all sorts of stuff. So not ideal for Red Bull there. But in terms of, they had a lot of good mileage. I would say for a team that, of course, are in a transition phase of doing their own one. And look, I think it was a pretty strong shakedown for the Red Bull powertrains. They didn't make any headlines for having low lights and struggling out there. So
Yep.
from what we can gather, reasonably good.
Yeah, I think so as well. We talk about being scarred from 2014 with Mercedes. Maybe this is part of my Max Verstappen not winning a race prediction as well, but I've also been scarred by Red Bull in 2014 because, of course, they were completely dominant with Sebastian Vettel for 4 years. We went into the hybrid era, and my whole memory of that Red Bull Renault in those tests during the kind of early power unit tests in 2014 was it just breaking down all the time. They did like 1 or 2 laps on the first day. They continued to have multiple reliability issues. So the fact that they'd have probably had that in the back of their mind, building their own power unit, working with Ford, it's a big change.
Can I just add how sexy that Red Bull looks with the new glossy paint and sort of 0 side pods right here? Like, imagine if, I think this is essentially what Mercedes was trying to do in 2022 with the whole 0 pods concept. I mean, there's still side pods. You definitely can see the side pods, but the way it sort of ducks down here, ducks underneath, it's definitely based off of that concept, the engine cover, the side pods. But yeah, it looks insane.
And yeah, the fact that they've kind of managed to seemingly not have major reliability issues. Obviously, they've been able to hide things to a point, but we've not seen them breaking down or catching fire.
Trees.
And yeah, exactly. All we've seen through the trees is Hadjar having an off, which was, of course, we don't know if it was driver error or just
It was a small one.
Or a car error.
That's all I can tell you. It was a tiny one. Really
a
small.
tiny backwards into a wall at the fastest corner of the track.
I also want to just quickly come in because Soy Motor, again, the goats out there, they've come in with the confirmation of the amount of laps for each team. So Mercedes 500, Ferrari 437, Haas 390, Alpine 347, Racing Bulls 321, Red Bull 303, McLaren 287, Audi 240, Cadillac 164, and Aston Martin 66. So that is the unofficial official amount of laps.
Well, that answers your question about Red Bull, right? They're certainly nowhere near off. I mean, I'd love to compare that to 2014. I imagine it's probably, barely double figures from the first 3 days that they had back in 2014. So it's a positive start for a brand new engine to be doing that many laps. You look at there and the one that stands out is Aston Martin only doing 66. But of course, they did only do one full day and one very, 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 very short day.
And
I really like how many laps Alpine did as well. 347 was it? Let me go back a bit. Yeah. Apparently Pierre Gasly did like 160 laps just yesterday alone. That's an insane amount of laps in a Formula One car. Um, that's well over more than two, even three race distances. I mean, he would have been cooked by the end of the day.
All day and one very, 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 very short day.
And 66 more laps than Williams, so at least they're not last.
Exactly.
Interesting that Audi managed 240, considering they did make a few headlines for red flags, I think on day 1 and day 3 of shakedown testing. But 240 laps for them is nothing to be upset about. I think that for a new team coming in and with their own engine, I think that's a pretty awesome amount of laps considering.
Yeah, they've done a good job. We mentioned that we're joking about like the Formula One wrap-up videos and how they're keeping everything a secret, and you know, like the Aston Martin's rolling out the pits and they're sharing the videos on social and pretending. The first day they're like, Audi are new to the sport. Meanwhile, like the footage is the car on the back of a flatbed truck and Bortoletto walking into the garage. And they're just like, Audi returned to the sport after, back in the sport, the legendary name. And you're just like, I can see the visual here. That does not look good.
That's not quite matched the voiceover, has it?
No,
really not. But I think they've bounced back pretty well considering
for a completely new power unit and you know coming into the sport. If you'd have said that you would have barely, you know, you'd be pretty close to McLaren, I think you'd absolutely take that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, that is us done and dusted for the Shakedown 5-day summary. I look forward to actually seeing cars out on track in some fashion next time they hit the circuit for the second week of testing. Tommy, what are your final thoughts?
Final thoughts, I completely agree. I just can't wait for the nice comfort blanket, which is a timing tower, to come back into our lives. Just
Tommy, please
give me that timing tower back. I need it. I just can't. We can't live without it now. Having just relying on a tweet every 4 hours from a page that you just kind of hoping is correct.
Yeah,
it's not the way to go.
With all due respect, and thank you so much. So I will look forward to never speaking about Soy Motor again, so I can actually just watch the cars rather than looking at tweets. So there you go. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate you, as always. We will see you in a bit, won't we? In a bit.
Where's the next?
So, yeah, I mean, as like echoing Matt's and Tommy's thoughts, it's pretty insane that in a world of so much technology and so much free access to information, how you have to rely on a person sitting on a hill outside a circuit for all this information about the shakedown. It's very funny, but obviously thanks to everyone who put out information, thanks to everyone who sat on those hills to provide us the photos, the videos. Just a massive thanks, and it helps creators like us to share that information to the whole world. I absolutely can't wait for Bahrain. It's going to be a blast in about 12 days time. As Tommy just said, that bring that timing tower back in our lives. Let that cradle us. Let that embrace us. Let us embrace that. So can't wait for Bahrain. Can't wait for the cars being on track again and seeing what actually is going on with them. Obviously, you can follow everything on this page right here. I will be bringing everything to you guys in like watch-alongs, reactions, reviewing stuff, pretty much everything. If you're watching this video, thank you so much. Your time means everything to me. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did in making it, please leave a comment. What do you want to see If you have any feedbacks for me, please drop them down in the comments, and make sure you please subscribe to the channel, because we are building the best and the biggest Formula One community in Australia. I'm sure there are so many creators out there in Australia who are part of these communities, who have created these communities over the years. But trust me when I say this, this is going to be a best and the biggest community of Formula One you have ever seen in Australia specifically. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much.